Okay, so you want to know if you can really make money blogging right. We're diving deep into your research to see if those blogging dreams can actually pay the bills.
Yeah, and it's interesting because your research starts with a question we hear a lot these days. Is blogging even relevant anymore? I mean, there's so much happening online already.
Right. With social media everywhere you look, it's easy to think blogging is old news.
But that's the thing about blogs, right? Your research is showing us that blogging gives you something that social media doesn't. Ownership. I mean, you're not stuck waiting to see if some algorithm changes everything, and you've got the space to really dive deep into what you love. That's got to be powerful.
And this isn't just theory, right? You found some amazing stories like James with his culinary journal, making bank by testing out kitchen gadgets.
Oh yeah, and then there's Emily, turned her Wanderlust diaries into a full-time gig, getting paid to travel and blog. Dream job.
Talk about living the dream. But it seems like there are a million different kinds of blogs out there, so how do you even stand out?
Well, a big theme that kept popping up in your research was focus. Bloggers like John with Tech Simplified and Mira from EcoKick, they're not trying to be everything to everyone. They found their niche.
It's like that old saying, jack of all trades, master of none. Except in the blogosphere, it's more like niche down or drown out, right?
Exactly. Imagine trying to set up shop in a crowded market. You wouldn't just open a random stall and hope for the best. You'd figure out what people need, something you're passionate about, and cater to that specific audience.
So John saw a need to make tech less scary for everyday people, and Mira tapped into the whole sustainable fashion movement.
Exactly. They found their lane and they owned it.
Okay, so you found your niche, you're fired up, ready to build your online empire. Where do you even begin? There's so much involved in setting up a blog. Your research on this was pretty expensive.
It could definitely seem overwhelming, but your research actually breaks it down into really manageable steps.
Yeah.
First things first, you got to choose a domain name.
Ah, yes, the online address of your blog.
Right. You want something catchy, easy to remember, and obviously relevant to your niche. I mean, Robert Savvy Home tells you right away that he's your home improvement guru, and Alicia's Fit Life. Well, it's pretty clear she's all about fitness motivation.
Makes perfect sense. So the domain name is like the name above the shop. Then you need to think about hosting, right? And honestly, this is where I start to feel like I'm lost in a maze.
I hear you. There are a ton of options, but your research does a good job highlighting some of the most popular platforms.
So walk us through it. What are the key things people need to know about hosting?
Think of hosting like renting a storefront for your blog. You need a good landlord that's your hosting provider and a well-designed space, which is your chosen platform. You've got WordPress, which is like renting a big open storefront. You can customize it however you want, but it takes a bit more tech savvy. Then there are platforms like Wix and Squarespace. Those are more like those pre-furnished spaces, super user-friendly, especially if you're just starting out.
Okay, so we've got the foundation. We've got the keys to our virtual storefront. Now it's time to fill it with awesome content because, as they say, content is king.
It really is. Content is the heart and soul of a blog. I mean, you could have the most beautiful website in the world, but without great content, well, it's just an empty storefront.
Totally. Your research really gets into the nitty-gritty of writing posts that don't just get people to click, but keep them coming back for more. And it's not just about writing about what you know, right? There's more to it than that.
Definitely. It's about hitting that sweet spot between being useful, keeping things engaging, and letting your personality come through. Like, look at Kevin's blog, Urban Garden.
Oh, yeah. He's got a great blog.
He's not just throwing some gardening tips out there. He's sharing his whole experience tuning concrete jungles into these little oases. It's really relatable, and people connect with that.
And then there's Natalie from Glow Girl. The beauty world is so crowded with blogs, but her product reviews are so honest and in-depth. People really trust her opinion.
Exactly. And that lines up with the key takeaway from your research. Whether you're solving a problem, sharing some insider knowledge, or just plain entertaining people, you got to provide value. When you do that, people stick around and they tell their friends.
So it's about building a community, not just shouting into the void, which I think is a good segue into the money question, because let's be real, we're all curious about how bloggers actually turn their passion into profit. You found some really interesting stuff about monetization strategies. What are some of the ways bloggers are cashing in?
Well, there are a lot of different approaches out there. Affiliate marketing is a big one.
Yeah.
Your research mentions Maria's the cozy baker. She's killing it with this.
Okay, so how does that work exactly?
Basically, she recommends baking tools and ingredients she uses and loves, and when her readers click her unique affiliate links and buy something, she gets a cut.
So it's like a win-win, right? Readers discover cool products, the blogger makes some money, and the brand gets a sale.
Exactly. Everybody wins.
Yep.
Then you've got bloggers like Sam, the digital nomad. He's turned his expertise into products he sells himself.
Oh, interesting. Like what kind of products?
So he's created ebooks and online courses about remote working, basically packaging up his knowledge and selling it directly. It's a smart way to create passive income while he's off on his adventures.
So smart. And it seems like everyone's doing online courses these days. Okay, what about good old-fashioned ads? Are those still relevant in the blogging world?
You know, they definitely still have their place. Platforms like Google AdSense let bloggers put targeted ads on their site, and they make money based on clicks or just how many people see the ad.
So it's all about eyeballs on the page.
Pretty much. You need a lot of consistent traffic to make serious cash from ads alone. It's definitely a numbers game.
That makes sense. So you're saying it's best to diversify, try different monetization methods, create like a little income buffet for your blog.
Exactly. And your research highlights another crucial ingredient for monetization: a loyal audience. It's not just about getting random visitors to your site. It's about cultivating a community that trusts you and values your perspective.
It's about quality over quantity, for sure. A blog without engaged readers is kind of like that tree falling in the woods thing, right?
Exactly.
So speaking of attracting those loyal readers, your research digs into some really powerful strategies for growing your audience. Let's start with the big one everyone's talking about, SEO.
Ah, yes. SEO, search engine optimization. It's basically the key to attracting free traffic from search engines like Google.
Okay, so SEO is like the magic spell that makes your blog appear when people search for something specific.
Kind of. It's more like the art of making your blog attractive to those algorithms. It involves using relevant keywords throughout your content and encouraging other websites to link back to yours.
So other websites linking to your blog is a good thing.
Yeah, it's huge. These backlinks are like votes of confidence, telling search engines that your blog is a credible source of information. So when someone searches for, let's say, best travel hacks for budget backpackers, a well-optimized blog post on that topic has a better chance of ranking higher in the search results and attracting those travel enthusiasts.
So basically, you've got to play the search engine game to get noticed.
Pretty much. And while SEO can seem a bit technical, your research does a good job of breaking it down into manageable steps. The main takeaway is that consistency is key. It's a long game, but it can pay off big time by bringing in tons of free traffic.
It's like building an SEO-powered bridge right to your content. Okay, let's move on to another powerful tool for growing your audience: social media. I mean, it's not just for sharing vacation photos and cat videos anymore, right? It's a goldmine for connecting with potential readers.
You got it. Remember Sarah from Mindful Living? Her story really jumped out in your research. She was really strategic about using Facebook groups to share her content and engage with people interested in mindfulness.
Ah, so she found her people.
Exactly. And the result? Her audience grew by a whopping 200% in just 6 months. That's insane.
That's amazing. It just goes to show you the power of going where your audience already is. But it's not just about spamming everyone with links to your latest post, right?
Absolutely not. It's about building relationships, fostering a sense of community, and providing value even on social media. Sarah didn't just promote her blog. She actively participated in conversations, answered questions, and shared valuable mindfulness tips.
So it's about being genuinely engaged, being part of the conversation.
Exactly.
I like it. And your research highlighted another smart strategy: guest posting. What's that all about?
So guest posting is when you write an article for another blog in your niche. It's a win-win situation because you get to tap into their established audience and they get fresh content.
So it's like you're borrowing their audience for a little while.
Kind of. It's a fantastic way to connect with new readers, build relationships with other bloggers, and just expand your reach. It's the blogging equivalent of a rising tide lifts all boats.
I love that. Collaboration over competition. Okay, we've covered so much ground here, from creating amazing content to making money and finding new readers. But let's be real for a second. Building a successful blog isn't always easy. Your research also touches on some of the challenges bloggers face. What are some of those roadblocks, and more importantly, how do you overcome them?
Well, first let's address the elephant in the room. Writer's block. It happens to everyone. That blinking cursor on a blank page can be incredibly intimidating.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like your creative well has completely dried up, and then there's that feeling when you pour your heart into a post hit publish and nothing, crickets. The dreaded traffic slump. It's so disheartening.
It really is. But your research has some comforting advice.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Even super experienced bloggers deal with this stuff. Remember Linda from Green Living?
Yeah, she had a great blog.
She was really struggling to gain traction until she started teaming up with other eco-conscious bloggers. By cross-promoting each other's content and guest posting, they were able to reach a much wider audience.
Collaboration to the rescue. It's a good reminder that we don't have to do everything solo in the blogging world.
For sure. And sometimes getting past those challenges means being open to learning new things. The online world changes so fast, and staying ahead of the curve with new technology strategies and tools is super important. Remember Arjun? He was feeling stuck until he finally cracked the code on SEO. His story just shows how important it is to adapt and try new things.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. I like that. We've talked about the practical stuff, the strategies, the challenges, but before we wrap up, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier. The idea that maybe instead of chasing dollars, bloggers should focus on creating something truly valuable for their audience. Can you unpack that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, making money is a big part of why people blog, but it shouldn't be the only thing driving you. Your research actually suggests that when you focus on creating really great content stuff that genuinely helps people or inspires them or even just entertains them, the money kind of takes care of itself.
It's like they say, do what you love and the money will follow.
Right. Except in this case, it's more like share what you love, build a community, and the money will follow.
I like that. So it's less about the hustle and more about building something real, something you're passionate about.
Exactly. And that's such an important message for anyone out there thinking about starting a blog. Don't get too caught up in the technical stuff or feel like you need to be making money on day one. Just find your voice, share your passion, and connect with your people. The rest will come. Just look at the bloggers you admire. Chances are they started because they had this burning desire to share something with the world. The monetization stuff that came later as their audience grew.
So build it and they will come right.
Pretty much. It's about playing the long game, being patient and persistent, and always be willing to learn and grow along the way.
It's been awesome taking this deep dive with you into the world of blogging. We've covered so much ground. We talked about finding your niche monetization strategies, overcoming challenges, and the importance of building a loyal community. So for anyone listening who's feeling that entrepreneurial spark, that urge to share their story with the world, what's the one piece of advice you'd leave them with today?
Just start. Seriously, don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect website design or the perfect anything. Just start writing. Start sharing. Start connecting. That's how you turn that passion project into something really fulfilling and, yeah, maybe even profitable.
Love it. Just take that leap of faith and trust the journey. And hey, who knows? Maybe your blog will be the next big thing. That's it for this deep dive into the world of blogging. We hope you learned a ton and feel inspired to start sharing your passions with the world. Until next time, happy blogging.